Hey, Hasmaster Reviews is here, and well, I'm sure most people on the Nintendo with a Nintendo Switch is probably enjoying playing the first wave of the booster course pack for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And yeah, I've been playing that too and having a good time with it. Honestly, I think I'm enjoying a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the trailer compared to how the tracks look when they've been released, it's like night and day. You know. But along with the recent DLC for Mario Kart 8, we've seen another mass franchise dip into a racing game, and it is Final Fantasy with Chocobo GP. So, and I've been playing it. It came out a week before the DLC, and I've been playing it. I've been playing both at the same time, so you know I have a bit of comparisons. But so what do I think of it? Of this, I like it. I do. It's yeah, good. And well, let's get onto it. So this is a racing game set in the Final Fantasy universe. You've got all the beloved characters classes, monsters and summons all racing together, and with many of the classic stuff like Moogles, Chocobos, White Mages, and of course a new variation of Sid being original. You've also got all the summons, each with different designs, as well as the classic characters from the mainline games. And it's overall, I will admit, the original characters look right, and it's good to see personality with them. The story mode is basically all these characters uniting to compete in a potential Grand Prix hosted by this mysterious Moogle calling himself Racing Hero X. And you go from there. You only start with 3 characters: a regular Chocobo, a White Mage, I forget her name is, in this monster by the name of Ben. So yeah, you start with those, and eventually you'll unlock the rest through story mode, buying characters at the shop, which is mostly the summons, and then through DLC at the moment you can buy Cloud, Strife, and Squall Leonhardt. And well, for what I will say, the characters themselves are great. Obviously, being the original characters are fine. You've obviously got your Moogles, your White Mages, your Chocobos, of course a variation of Sid, even Gilgamesh is in it. But you've also got, and of course you've got the summons: Ifrit, Shiva, Ramu, Titan, all those guys. Leviathan is actually the ride of one of the original characters, so yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you've got the protagonists from the mainline games. Obviously, I've said Cloud and Squall are DLC, but you've also got Terra from Final Fantasy VI and Vivi and Steiner from FF9 as unlockable characters for the story mode. And I will admit, the original the characters that we all know for the mainline games are the best ones. And what I do like is, during the story, you do get certain interactions that seem pretty nice. I mean, as a fan of Final Fantasy VI, it was nice to see Marwyn actually act like a father in front of Terra. What would be like if Terra actually did have a relationship with her father. And and it is interesting to see Steiner actually accuse Vivi of being a thief instead of being around Zidane. You've also got references to the other characters, like Edgar gets mentioned by Terra, and Queen Braun and Steiner mentions Queen Braun. But you get that. Obviously, we will get more DLC with the original characters. I mean, I think we can pretty much say I think it's an obvious bet that people like the likes of Setzer from FF6 and Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 will probably show up. There are other characters too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see characters from Final Fantasy X, like Yuna and Tidus, and then you've got others like And then you've got others like, then potentially other characters who are both summons and playable characters like Kate Sif who show up, Zidane, Baltier from FF12, maybe Lightning and could show up, you know. And I think like characters like Cecil just work perfectly in this art style. Hell, you can even probably throw in some characters from the Final Fantasy Tactics series. But you know, also if you're wondering why I'm referring to certain characters by different, I'm allowed to call the characters whatever I want. I may be saying Tidus like the original translation from Japan, but I will pretty much say Kate Sif compared to Ket Sheep. Just saying. For an effect, you can also throw in the villains. I mean, only Gilgamesh is currently the only one of the mainline series villains. But come on, I would love to see the likes of, you know, I'd love to see Kefka and Sephiroth show up. Hell, maybe throw in Jekt as well. Sorry. But with that said, let's get on to the main gameplay. And honestly, it's alright. So I think the controls pretty well. I think drifting is fine, acceleration's all good. It's not as, and this game isn't as fast paced as Mario Kart, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. It just depends on where you are. But I will admit, I've played a lot of kart racing games. Honestly, I mean it's it's the racing genre I'm mostly familiar with. Obviously, I've played Mario Kart, but I've also played Sonic and Sega All Stars racing games. As you know, Team Sonic Racing, did a review on it up there. I've also played Diddy Kong Racing and the original Crash Team Racing on PlayStation 1. So I love my kart races. So, but this isn't really up to the same standard as those. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It can be good. But I pretty much would consider this as the same equivalent to Madagascar Karts. Which, you know, is actually not a bad game, honestly. But, you know. The music, the main theme song is alright, but I'm more of a fan of the remixes of the stages based on certain locations. Like the themes of the new arrangements for the Gold Saucer and Zoso just fit so well in a racing game. Even the Chocobo theme also gets a few good remixes, you know, from stuff like the Final Fantasy VII version of the Chocobo theme. You know, the online connectivity is actually pretty good. It plays well online. I was quite impressed. I think I've only dropped out twice, but I think it's because I was in a different room in my house hasn't got really strong Wi-Fi connection. So in many ways, it's fine. However, I do have problems. Let's start off with first up the track design. I mean, and this is basically even more evident after playing the first 8 tracks in the booster course patch for Deluxe. These track designs are pretty basic, and you know, not to say that there are some variety. There are a few shortcuts, but what they do is they're going in the same route as, I would say, which one was it? I forget, but they're going a specific route where, you know, there are multiple variations of a certain track. Like, you know, something, you have one variation, but then they change the layout a bit. So I forget which kart race I'm referring to. I really do forget. It's in my head, but I forget. But anyway, you go in that route, and even then, the track designs aren't the best. I mean, I can remember a bit of the Gold Saucer, but tracks like Zozo, Sid's Test Track, and even the final level. Okay, the final level I can remember in an aesthetic sort of view, but you know, they're just pretty basic. Just a few bridges, you know. I think the beach track is alright in terms of a basic starting track, but you know, I don't think Sid's Test Track and even the Chocobo Farm are pretty memorable. And I can only remember likes of Zozo, Alexandria, and even the Great Bridge by just their layouts, you know, like the designs in the backgrounds, you know, just saying. There are other tracks too, but you know, just saying. And then we have the unbalanced items. Now, I think these items are way are way unbalanced compared to Mario Kart. Yes, the items can be seen as can be annoying in Mario Kart, but they are balanced. I think they're fine. They work to the same effect as everything else. Some do function better than others, but they still have the same effect. However, the items here are very different. So you use Magicite from FF6 as your power-ups, which is okay. And they're going the Diddy Kong Racing route, where if you hit a specific Magicite a second time and still have the original one you picked up, it increases. Yeah, so as I said, it's like Diddy Kong Racing, where you can increase the power-ups. But here's the thing. Magicite works very differently, is that you don't know whether you're going to, unless you specifically know, like you're going on your second lap, where to grab the next Magicite, you don't know if it will be the same one. Like, a rainbow color Magicite may give you a fireball attack in one part, but when you grab another one in the second part, it gives you some crystals. So yeah, it's hard to say. And even then, these power-ups are very strange. I mean, stuff like the booster, speed booster and the earthquake, they're relatively the same. Like, I can manage them, but then you get stuff like the teleport Magicite, which is technically my favorite. But even then, I can admit it is really cheap, as you don't know how, as it could previously seem as a cheap move that you store up to the final lap and just use it to get ahead so you can get into the final four. Not saying I'm saying that because I use that a lot, but still. But then you can also. But here's the thing: if your opponent uses it around the same time, they can pretty much put the exit portal in front of you, and you have no way to escape from driving into it, so you end up going a few miles back. But then you've also got the fireball Magicite, which, yes, well, it can shoot straight ahead if you just get one or two to the first level and second level. But in the final level, you can end up getting the third level. You can end up firing a massive fireball that just automatically locks onto the person in front of you. Yeah, I'm just saying. And there are others too. I mean, the electric. What I'm saying is the items are really unbalanced. And that goes the same thing with the special moves. Each character has their own special move. And that also connects, and not all of them are perfect. My favorites being the Chocobo's Magicite special move, where it's just a speed boost, which honestly I think is alright. And Clouds, because it's basically Omni Slash, it's all good. But others like trying to think, like Ben's and Steiner's, and I guess and Titans aren't really the best. That goes into the character balance. Not all these characters are the best to drive. Like, let's say I pick Ramu because I like his special move. It works out great, but he's still a very slow character. Okay. He's probably even slower than, say, someone like Titan and Ben, who are more heavyweights. And then also you got Terra, who should be an all-rounder, but she's driving a Magicite tank, and she's driving a pretty slow car. And Terra's one of my favorite characters in Final Fantasy, and I love the Magicite tank, the Magicite armor from FF6. So cool to see her driving one, and I like her special move where she shoots a bunch of missiles, but it's not. But again, I gotta keep in mind the slowness of it. If anything, my mains in Final Fantasy in this Chocobo, Cloud, I will Shiva because she does well, and Racing Hero X. They're the ones I pick the most. I'm sure as other characters get introduced as DLC, I will gravitate towards them, but I gotta keep in mind, but I gotta see whether they fit my style and easy to pick up. I'm just saying. With that said, Chocobo GP is pretty good. I enjoy it for being a race, and I think it's a step up from the last two attempts Square Enix has made of making us Final Fantasy racing game. So it works out well. It's 7 out of 10 hash stars from me. But if anything, I would mostly say if you have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and you're gonna want to pick either getting the booster course pack or getting this, I still say get the booster course pack because a lot more variety, There's more to offer at this stage. Sorry. And overall, I think it's a much more better experience. I should one day review Mario Kart 8, the original version and Deluxe. In fact, I should do the entire Mario Kart series. Maybe I should even do Final Fantasy. Some point. But not now. Although I will state, in terms of video games, I wouldn't be surprised that it's not quite over yet. I mean, next week, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie is released. So, that's my next movie review, in terms of being released in cinemas. And you never know, anything else could pop up along the way. You can never know with me what I'll do. That's all I'm saying. So, this is Hazard from Hazard Reviews out, and I'll see you for my next video. Ciao.